The concept of a recapped or like a digital sales room was like pretty foreign to me. Like I didn't even know what I didn't know when I first started. I've been using it for a little while now. I'd say I'm pretty familiar with it, pretty comfortable in it. I mean, second time top salesperson of the year, 2023 and 2022. I don't want to say it's all because of Recap, but hey, I mean, there is some causation there. So second nature, I'm an account executive, which means I deal with all of our new partnerships, prospecting, pitching, or getting the deal signed. But second nature as a whole, we do what's called resident benefits packages. Our primary clientele are residential property managers. Their goals are to attract and retain good tenants, make sure the rent gets paid on time, make sure the tenant doesn't destroy the building, make sure that if the building does need some repairs, they get fixed on time. And so second nature comes in to basically help them do that and make them better property managers. We started as an air filter delivery company. So our one goal was just to get the resident to change the filter on time. That was it. And we got really, really, really good at it. We did like the Dollar Shave Club of air filters, and the resident loved it. The property managers loved it. The owners loved it. And so we kind of asked ourselves, what are some other services we can bring in? How can we round this out from just a standalone filter program to a package of benefits for the resident? And so we started basically just giving tenants things they asked for. So there's all these protections for the resident, for the property manager. And the beauty of our service is any of the pieces that we set up for you, we'll manage for you like a remote teammate. So we kind of become an extension of our client's team. We basically become like another arm of their operation so that they can focus on being property managers. We can focus on giving their tenants a good experience. So it's a nice kind of partnership aspect. It's a very service-oriented sale, I guess, sort of product. We have all our different products, but really the secret sauce is us and our team behind the curtain kind of administrating things. That's really where Recapped helps us stand out. The buyer journey for a lot of these people, when you think of a property manager, many times it's not like a suit and tie executive in a corner C-suite office with like a glass building. So a lot of times it's like just a person like you or me on the other side of the transaction. So it's not this like highly complex, buyer with lots of like decision-making criteria. A lot of their decision-making criteria is right here. And they go to these trade shows or they'll go online and they'll try to find companies like Second Nature to work with to make them better property managers. But there is so much noise out there. There's really not any other companies that do a resident benefits package the way we do, which is nice, right? So we don't have a lot of competition in our niche, but we have a lot of competition, other companies competing for our clients' attention. And so the buyer's journey is like, there's all this crap out there, for lack of a better word, and they have to sift through it themselves and basically go with whoever gives them the easiest, quickest answers. And so as much as they're the marketing person, they're the operations person and they're the bookkeeper. So they don't have the bandwidth to be evaluating all these companies at scale and putting together a complex decision matrix. So many times we get one shot. They'll come up to a booth or they'll submit an online form. They're like, hey, you got 15 minutes with me to tell me who you are, what you do, and why I care before I got to go fight another fire. Their journey is very hectic, right? It's very sort of short bursts. It's very guerrilla style almost. And so having those quick answers, being able to like be responsive and having something collaborative, giving them something to literally take home after the discussion, like a shared recap page, is huge because many times you tell them something, goes in one ear, they go to fight a fire and it goes right out the other. So that recall is crucial. I love this because I even tell my clients this. I position Recapped as, this takes the place of, in my words, a boring, tired slideshow presentation, right? So like when you go on to do a demo with a salesperson, you kind of know what to expect. They're going to share their screen. They're going to show you some slides. They're going to talk about their company history. They're going to show their founder doing a backflip and why they're so cool and need to work with them. It's like all stuff that you can get from the About Me, right? And so when I come in and I'm like, hey, not going to do any of that crap for you. I've actually got a collaborative workspace where we're going to build your benefits package. We're going to build something together. They're like, holy cow, what is all this? Like I was ready for a PowerPoint. And now you've got me like collaborating and like pulling stats on my like HVAC expenses so we can figure out how much I'm going to save. And, now you're showing me other listings. It's a very interactive platform and it lends itself to a discussion versus like a monologue. And it gets people engaged in a way that the Google Slides kind of glaze the eyes over a little bit. So it's novel. It's got a very distinct place in our sales process, and I think it invites collaboration in a way that I haven't really seen any other platform really even be open to. The engagement piece is big for me. Like, I don't want to just show them a recap. I want them to like get involved in the recap. Like, I want them editing it. I want them bookmarking it. I want them referring back to it. And so what really moves the needle for me is like, we've built this recap with you together. Like, that's all fine and good. But when I share it to them and they start opening it and engaging with it and doing something with it, to me, that's the value of Recapped. Because I could just as easily do a slideshow presentation, send them the deck, cross my fingers, and hope that I did a good enough job that they can now sell my product to their leadership team. With Recapped, like, I don't have to hope. Like, I know that they have a tool that we built together that they have access to. I can see when they access it. I can see what they click on and what's important to them. That engagement and those insights really move the needle in a way that many other vendors are just kind of setting and forgetting. They're sending the info. They're saying, hey, hope this resonates. And then obviously it inevitably gets lost in the inbox, and then they call back and they're like, who the hell are you? And it's like, oh, we just talked last week. And so this is a great way to really contextualize it for people and get that engagement that I think really makes them committed. I've had instances where our process is to supply our partners with a whole list of documents, like marketing flyers and things to basically sell the program to their residents. The goal is that it would be second nature, right, to adopt the benefits package as a resident, but there is some degree of selling and making the case for the program. So having somewhere to not just have a one-time conversation, but refer back to, I've had clients many times say, hey, I still have that platform. They don't even remember what it's called, but they're like, I still have that platform, that bookmark, like on top of my search bar because I refer back to it so much. Like, being able to access that as a refresher, use it as a repository for documents. I feel like it's many people's Google Drive. Like, that's their sort of Bible. And we've heard, hey, other companies don't do this for us. Other companies send us a bulk email and then it gets buried. But like, it's nice having somewhere to store things and like a repository. So I'd say that's the biggest way that it's really moved the needle for us. I use it almost as much as a reference tool for me as my clients do as a reference tool for them. Obviously, I'm doing this all day, every day with 100 different people. And so it can be tough for me to remember. Somebody will come back from 6 months ago and say, hey, what exactly am I paying for the benefits package again? And I'm like, that's a good question. So I'll pull up Recap and be like, okay, here's what we agreed on. Here's your price. Here's their price. And they're like, oh, yeah. Okay, I remember now. That's great. Thank you. Or like when I go to build a contract for somebody, which is what I'm doing right now, I'll go back to the Recap to make sure that I'm building the contract exactly pursuant to the deal that we negotiated. Because again, there's so many different factors and bells and whistles and particularities that our partners can customize on their end. I want to make sure I get it right on the contract. So it's kind of my spot checker or my assistant in the field, making sure that I cross my T's and dot my I's and I recall it as well as my prospect does. For deal reviews, we have Gong analytics and stuff like that. Recapped for me is more external, more outward facing, more client facing. Although with that said, one place that it has helped my conversations with my manager is if there's any feedback or any points of clarity or any maybe questions I can be asking, for example, she can put in Recapped like a block that's hidden from the client, but that I can see that's like, hey, don't forget to ask this question, or just things that I can work on. So it can be as much a learning tool for me, or, like bowling guardrails for me as it is, an education for the client.
You can embed Gong recordings as well in the workspaces with the new embed block, in case you haven't been.
I haven't been, but that's super sharp. Because what I'll do is I'll send like a follow-up email and say, here's your recap link, here's your Gong recording. Now I can just say, here's your recap link, click it for the Gong recording. And
exactly.
Ooh, that's spicy, man. You're saving everybody a click. I love it. I love it. I'm glad I joined this call. You're already elevating my game. I'd recommend this to anybody whose sale or whose service is a little more collaborative. If you're out here like selling ice cream or selling like a one size fits all kind of thing, maybe not as much for you. Maybe you can get away with just like a couple of slides on a presentation or on a deck. But I think today people want customizability. People want options. People want to feel like they've got some involvement. They don't want to just buy a widget. They want to buy something that works for them. And so I think the best way to get that commitment is to get them involved. And so I think if there's any moving pieces in your product, if there's any buy-in that needs to happen on the part of the prospect, if there's any sort of collaborative decisions that need to be made together, I think Recapped is a great way to help your prospect work through and digest the moving pieces of your product in a way that makes them feel like it can be their product. It's not just you telling them what you want them to hear. It's them really having a dialogue with you. So I'd say any salespeople that want to open a dialogue, that want to have a collaborative conversation, that want to get prospects involved in the sort of solutions finding process, I think that's the perfect person for Recapped. And so, kudos to Second Nature for getting a good tech stack set up for their salespeople, something we're actually going to use. And thank you guys for being awesome partners, for making an awesome product, for listening to the feedback and constantly improving, and for doing stuff like this. So this is great.